how do we know that the lack of interoceptive awareness is driving the lack of mental imagery as opposed to the other way around? Could it be the lack of mental imagery is reducing the ability to have interoceptive?
Yeah, I mean, there are two ways I would answer that question. So people often say that imagery is important. So, we know this link between mental imagery and emotions. That's well known. And people often say that the link arises because mental imagery is needed for us to kind of model social interactions. It helps to understand them. But what I would argue is that if you think about how neurodevelopment, what comes first? The first thing that really comes is the interoception. Signals from your body. As a young child, you learn when you're hungry, when you need to go to the toilet. That's really the foundation. Then come your sort of emotions, and mental imagery develops much later. So I would argue that sort of order of events kind of suggests that interoception is the foundation. The other thing I would argue is that if we look at kind of the comorbidities of aphantasia with other condition, we find there's comorbidity with alexithymia, which is the inability to kind of understand your emotions. That's an interoceptive condition. Obviously the comorbidity, I know it's a little bit controversial, comorbidity with autism, ADHD, these are interoceptive conditions. So all this suggests that imagery is a symptom alongside with things like alexithymia and autism, ADHD, and the major theme is interoceptive issues. I think that's the reason why the foundation is interoception, because we get a range of different effects, the different conditions that kind of go together with aphantasia.
I'll be traced back. Why do you think it seems the congenital and the aphantasia and the acquired cases have the opposite cause or effect on the interoceptive differences? Why do you think that might be?
Yeah, I think, if you think about the acquired cases, this is something that, the studies in the 19th century already reported. The fact that if you have a very sort of traumatic event, if you have a mental health condition, that leads you to dissociate from yourself. Something called depersonalization. You distance yourself from your, and part of the way you do that is you kind of suppress sort of your ability to access your autobiographical memories as well. If you had a traumatic event, you don't want to go back to those events. You kind of suppress your ability to do that. And the key to suppressing, kind of depersonalizing, is via the interoceptive system. Because the step number one, you distance yourself from your bodily signals. That allows you to distance from overwhelming emotions. That's the reason why, if you have a certain mental health condition, if you have a traumatic event, you get that dissociation. And what we're arguing is that part of that dissociation, one consequence is aphantasia. But it is the outcome of that process of you pulling away from yourself, from your feelings, from your emotions, which comes from interoception.